Yo, what's going on guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the second channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be covering some more pro gameplay. So this is actually the semi-final matchup which happened yesterday in East Asia. We have a Reject versus Crazy Racoon. So essentially this is normally the grand final in East Asia. The stakes aren't really as high as usual, but of course we got two of the best teams pretty much in the world on paper. So straight away into the draft then, we have Crystal Arcade, we have Nita, Lola and Grey Band on the side of Reject, and also Crow, Stu and Nita Band for Crazy Racoon. We see the Squeak being the first picked, which is a pretty, I'd say, good brawler to first pick. But then again, they literally have Shelly open and we go with Jean. So Jean is actually a brawler we don't really see too often in the mid anymore. I'm not too sure why people don't really like the Jean in the mid, but yeah, I guess he's just not really used outside of East Asia that much. Then they go with the Janet. So Janet has really fallen off in the meta. I think she's only really good. I'd say this is one of the best maps. You're thinking maybe maps like Canal Grande, Crystal Arcade, and Infinite Doom off the top of my head. Those are probably her best maps just because you've got good wall peeking capabilities. You've got the gadget that can scout the grass pretty well. I think she should be able to keep on top of Shelly a decent amount. So I kind of like it. And then we go with the Cordelius. So again, we've seen quite a weird draft in the sense, like in EU as well, we saw like Shelly and Cordelius actually evade the draft stage, the ban stage, sorry. For me, those two brawlers are just completely broken, so I don't know why both of them have just been allowed to play out, but I guess, I don't know, maybe their scrims are just looking a lot different. And in terms of the last pick against all of that, I still probably would go with something aggressive. Like if I go with a Barley, okay, that is interesting. So I've seen Barley a few times on this map, literally a few times I've seen it. I think in Queso Cup EU off the top of my head, which it actually worked out really well, and I think other than that I've not really seen it too much. But I guess Barley can be good, but my guess is that it is going to lose just because you've got Janet, which can use her super to close the gap onto the Barley and kill him. You've also got Squeak that can at least hold lane against Barley, and then once Cordelius gets super, yeah, I just don't really like that Barley pick. Me personally, I would have definitely gone with a tank. You know, Janet can't deal with aggression. You've got Squeak that can't deal with aggression. If you've just got someone like a Sam or just some form of aggression just constantly going in, it's going to take the aggro off at least two of the players. So yeah, that's just my take on things. Anyways, we're jumping into this game, but if you want to know the history between CR and RC, you've seen it last time on my channel. Basically, you've got a lot of world champions. That's what you need to know. World champions just everywhere. You got Saitampo, you've got Achape, of course, you've got Tensai, you've also just got so many good players. Levi's coming through the ranks as well, who's one of the best players in the world. He gets the kill onto Tensai as well. And you can see already the control just going their way. I mean, Janet is a good mid as well here, to be fair. Like, once she received the nerf pretty much straight away, people just started to use her as a mid. She's a little bit safer. She can get some good poke damage, but we've got to be careful of that gene pool for sure. Saitampo with the Shelly Clay Pigeons doesn't actually get the kill onto a Charpe. Tensai actually wins his lane against Levi, which is a big surprise. With Gene Pool, Gene can actually pull both Cordelius and Squeak, so I guess can be good in that sense. Another gadget comes out and a flush out from Tensai, but just two more gems left for Reject to pick up the win. By the way, I know the result of this, but I don't know like the set score or also just what competitions they went, because it was so early in the morning. Obviously I can't really wake up at like, what was it, like 5-6 a.m. for me. Yeah, it was just weren't really worth it. Saitampo went in his lane. Menmi has to use his Janet super in time to get out. Levi doesn't get the kill there. Saitampo does have to use his super there just for a little bit of pressure. Good gene pool as well to clean up a Charpe. I kind of like it. They're making a bit of a comeback right here. Levi needs to get his super in time and chain it. I guess he could just run up against the Shelly because Shelly doesn't do the most damage at long range, but he's slowly getting pinched out. He's eventually going to go down to the Gene and the Shelly pinch, so a really good pinch from Crazy Racoon, and now the countdown starts. But they have to stay in the mid, I believe, because yeah, there's going to be two gems that spawn in time, but Tensai can pick up that gem anyways, a flush out, and that's actually going to be the round win for Crazy Racoon. So yeah, the thing that I love about East Asia, of course, I love the mechanics, but I actually like the drafts in a sense. It's something different. Like normally across multiple regions, I would say, ever since I was competing, probably like 3 years. Every single region has their own meta, and there's always some weird picks. You know, I can think of Latam for example. Like for years, they've loved Mr. P. You think of NA, they love their tanks. You think of EU, they just love so much control, so many support brawlers. And then East Asia have always been a mixture of pretty much everything, but you can see here they just really love control at the moment. I would say the East Asia meta is basically control, because again, I would have rather just gone a tank over than Barley. It did work out in that game, but yeah, that's definitely a weakness for them. I would say the draft at the moment. I did pinpoint it last video as well, so let's see if they can improve on their drafting. Of course, they're the pros, they will know a lot more than me, but that's just my takeaway from it, and also just a pros takeaway from it, especially since I think it was the ESL Masters. Yeah, the ESL Masters not too long ago. If you're unaware what that was, it was basically a mini world finals without Latam, and Totem did win that. Basically, Crazy Racoon weren't as strong there just because of their drafting. Like, their drafting was pretty poor. A lot of pro players pinpointed that. So if you're looking at something going into world finals, that is definitely something Crazy Racoon need to pick up on, because of course they've got the mechanics, they've got the best mechanics in the game, but if other teams have got the draft on lock more than them, and of course that can win you the game. Drafts can literally win you games. That's how it is in competitive at the moment. But anyways, we've just been waffling for this long, and already Rejects are just 1 gem away. Of course, Jean can't pull, and Janet has that gadget available, and now the 10th gem does spawn. So the game has pretty much just played out the way I expected it to be honest. In the first game, it was a little bit more messy, but yeah, Squeak's been handling the Shelly a decent amount, and just overall, I rate the Squeak first pick. It's been very good so far. So that's going to be the set equalized already here, and it's just certified to be another banger. I think last time they faced off, it went to a set 5. Pretty much every time these guys have played, it's been pretty close, I would say, but I think Crazy Racoon has came out on top, I think, every single time. Someone's going to correct me in the comments, I know. But I think pretty much every single time, I know they've definitely got a majority in terms of wins, because I think no matter the result, I think Crazy Racoon just qualified to World Finals anyway, even if they lose. So that's how far ahead they are in points. I think they just got to turn up today, and they managed to qualify for the World Finals. So Squeak gets a really good pinch on with the Shelly as well. Jarpe is doing an amazing job. I know he didn't really, well, they didn't start the year too strong, but I've been seeing recently the performances, especially from a Charpy, have been very, very strong. Of course, you can't discount a 2-time world champion for sure. Absolutely insane. So Tensai, he's going to have a big struggle pushing up. Again, it's just a Barley pick. Why would you pick a Barley into Cordelius, especially when he gets the extra movement speed? Anyway, like he's not a normal speed brawler. He's got fast, and then you pair that with a speed gear, and then you also pair that with the extra movement speed you get in Shadow Realm. It's just really hard for any throw to do anything. Again, just gets taken down. It's definitely a draft diff at the moment, and that's surely going to be the game going the way of Reject. So yeah, there's no way they're going to be able to come back. For me, it was just plain and simple draft. I think the first game, maybe Reject had some nerves, but overall very convincing, and Rejects are going to be able to take the first set. So jumping into the next set, we have Safe Zone Heist, and we can see the bands Lola, Belle, and Bonnie, and then Penny, Brock, and Grom. So Penny is still valued on the side of Crazy Racoon. It can be good sometimes, but it's quite clear. I was literally about to say that they're going to go something like an 8-bit. You know, Penny is only really considered as a counter option right now in the meta. The nerfs really did kill her, but I think she's a decent option in Safe Zone when trying to counter a brawler like 8-bit. So 8-bit is the first pick. I would say it's a little bit questionable, just because you don't really see that too often, I guess. I mean, Colette is open straight away. I'll be picking up Colette if I was on the side of Reject, and also Eve as well. Those are 2 brawlers sort of pick up pretty much straight away, or Cordelius. So go with a Squeak. Again, Squeak can be pretty good, especially getting some confirmed damage with the super onto the safe. I do like it. Again, I'll definitely go with Colette or an Eve here to counter this 8-bit. Colette would have such a free matchup, considering Brock is banned as well. You know, you kind of need some damage. Like, Colette is going to get some safe damage for sure, whilst Eve and Squeak, neither of them are going to get like really fast damage, right? But go with a Colette. So I'm glad they at least know their textbook Brawl Stars for sure. So now, on the side of Crazy Racoon, this can be pretty easy. They should be going with Eve. Eve is a fantastic counter pick to the likes of Colette. So I know I kind of just cancelled out myself there, but they go with a Cole. So, They go to Carl, which is normally not the best against a Colette, and then they go to Crow. I mean, this is interesting. I like a different meta for sure, but I'm not really used to seeing Crow on safe zone whatsoever. Normally it's used as like a counter pick against Max. Maybe they're anticipating a Max mid against the 8-bit. That could be my guess. That's surely the only guess, because Crow I don't really rate too much. If I was Reject, what would I be going here? So I'd probably be looking at some aggression maybe as well. They go with Cordelius, which could be pretty decent. I would say Cordelius probably be a little bit better against more tankier brawlers, I would say, on this map. Like Daryl, I've seen Cordelius really shut down Daryl on this map, for example. I would have probably just gone for like a Daryl myself, or a Buzz, or just trying to think off the top of my head. I mean, I keep saying Eve, but I don't know about Eve, because the thing is that you got too much control. You definitely need a little bit of aggression on safe zone. You need a brawler that can at least get into the pocket. You haven't kind of got that with Reject's composition, except for, well, they've got Cordelius now, but you get what I mean. That's why you can't really go like free control brawlers. So going into safe zone, then let me know what you would have changed about that, and if you also like me waffling on about the draft. Some people can just skip it, of course, but a lot of times that's probably the most value you're going to get out of most of these videos, is the draft and how these guys draft, how these guys can counter certain brawlers and get the right matchup. So Saitampo straight away going onto a Charpe. Again, I apologize if I just completely butcher the pronunciation. I've got to work on it for sure, but that's just something I've always been pretty terrible at. So Tensai is actually using Boosted Booster, which I do agree with. Saitampo does get the kill in the end. You also see the Crow pushing up here, and is actually using a really terrible Crow skin. I don't know why, I just get really bugged when people use the Mecha Crow. A lot of people do like it, maybe myself. I don't really like it. The residue goes down in the middle, and Saitampo's doing a really good job down the lane. A good Squeak Super goes out, and now he has to kind of fall back. He's doing a good job of keeping some consistent pressure. Levi's going to use a Colette Super on the safe and get some good percentage lead, but we're kind of really banking off this 8-bit to push up, but he's up against 3 people here. Cordelius can just jump in. Should have just used the realm a lot quicker here, because I think he's going to go down to the Cole maybe. Let's see, he does eventually get a lot of wow, he actually connects another realm onto the Cole, so then he can get even more healing mushrooms. And that's just one broken thing about Cordelius. I mean, thankfully we're not going to be seeing that anymore, with the balance changes probably coming literally Monday, Tuesday probably. It's like being able to shadow realm someone in the shadow realm and then get so many more healing mushrooms is just such a broken mechanic to have. So funnily enough, Saitampo's actually using the other star power Carl. Tensai's going to use extra credits here with their boosted booster. You should see Crow jump in here. I was hoping he would jump in a little bit earlier, just because he would have got that extra damage from boosted booster, but so much damage on the side of Crazy Racoon. You just see there, all they need is one 8-bit push and get so much damage, but then a perfect Squeak Super basically equalizes things in the end, just 7% in it here. And with control the way of rejects, it's looking pretty bad for Crazy Racoon. But Yume's getting some good chip damage onto Squeak. Wow, the boosted booster just got so much extra percentage. Saitampo's going to doing a really fantastic job of keeping enemy back for now. It's actually going to go down, but Cordelius isn't going to be able to rectify the amount of damage that is needed, because Tensai is on the safe with boosted boosters. So I would say the strategy there was a little bit weird, but I liked it. The thing is, normally people just do the tried and tested, even against Colette. Now, this is one thing I noticed straight away, is that even though like Colette normally goes down the left lane, gets super from 8-bit, who's kind of hanging in the middle, but what Tensai did really well, which I really did enjoy seeing, is that he just forced himself onto the right hand side of the map a lot more. So he wasn't feeding Colette supers, he was sneaking in, getting a lot of damage. I really liked it. You can see it here again. It's just kind of trying not to like run into the Colette, run into the Squeak, because both of these brawlers can deal with a 8-bit pretty well. So Saitampo's done a fantastic job of just being in the corner, being really annoying. The thing is, even if you're not getting much percentage, like, you're forcing at least one player, maybe 2 players to come back. So again, with Cole, you can peek shot around the corner, get some chip damage. You see Booster go down here from Tensai. He's able to get the extra credits and so much damage onto the safe. Wow, this is what you absolutely love to see. Memmi eventually gets the pinch onto side Tampo, but this Crow Super is about to come down and deal so much damage, and now that is basically a 50% lead going away of Crazy Racoon, and I love it. It's just textbook heist, being able to communicate so well, know that they're on the same wavelength, get so much damage in the end. And now what side Tampo can just keep doing is just keep getting in the corner, keep wasting the time, keep trying to force the opponents back, because now they're literally forced to defend every single attack. There's not much left, but when again, the Chopper gets a really tasty super onto the safe, able to get a lot of damage in there. Levi with a really good collect super. Crow can just jump in here. Probably not the best jump, just because he was one shot in the end. But now Sartampo's worked his way over to the safe. He should be able to get a lot of damage with his super and basically end the game. A good super interruption there from Memmi, being able to cancel out the Cole super. Now a lot of damage is raining in. They need to be careful here. Crazy Racoon. Another residue goes down, and this is literally do or die. Charpy's in the corner. I don't think we're going to be able to pinch him out in time. Surely this is a reject win. Yeah, there's just not enough resources there to kind of get the squeak out. So, I mean, that was a really good game of heist. That had everything. That had really good team play from Crazy Racoon, and then we maybe had some overextensions. And the thing is, I think side Tampo had to finish the game there, or else the counter-offensive was just way too much. Especially with an 8-bit without any kind of speed, it's pretty hard for him to defend and pinch, right? So, side Tampo here is going to be pushing up this side. Now, C10 kind of hanging around the middle a little bit longer this time. Memmi jumps in, a little bit predictable, but the thing is, with Cordelia's, you're pretty much always guaranteed to die pretty early on, especially in competitive gameplay, because of course he has no range and it's pretty hard for him to get his super. So what I always say, it's kind of like Mortis in a way, like you kind of just got to suicide in a couple of times, try and get that first super, and then once you get one super you can just keep cycling. So decent damage from side Tampo. I feel like he maybe could have survived that a little bit better, but then again, some good defense from Levi. Now rejects are in a really good spawn trapping position. A good shadow round there from Memmi, but the thing is, Crow's going to be able to cancel out a little bit of the healing. Levi with a good super, but probably a bit of a poorly timed gadget. A Charpy, by the way, is just playing so good on the squeak. It's actually insane. This is 2 sets in a row now. He's just shutting down so much aggression. You know, typically squeak gets countered by any sort of aggression, right? But he's just playing it so well, being able to conserve his ammo at the right time. And of course, Squeak deals so much damage as well, getting so much value out of the damage gear is definitely the key to their success at the moment. So he's just looking to wiggle his way up, try not allow Crazy Racoon any space. A good crow jump in the end, but actually going to get traded out fantastically. Well timed from a Charpy there. And now Crazy Racoon are in a world of hurt. They can't go 2 sets down, surely. Surely they can't go 2 sets down, or else it's pretty much over. It's very rare that reverse sweeps do, of course, happen. Memmi with a good time super there. Tensai has to use his super in the corner, but with Squeak, there's just no moving, right? Squeak can just force you into a bad situation. Side Tampo with a really good flying hook right there to try and get the kill onto a Charpy. He does do that. Now the damage gear is popped. It's going to be to rain so much damage onto the safe here. Again, I forgot what star power it is, but basically enables you to get even more damage with a faster returning pickaxe. A good shot around there with only 6% in it. This is going down to the wire, but Crazy Racoon do have a super here. I feel like they could be able to make a good play to get this extra percent of the need. Side Tampo's going to go in the corner. Crow jump is all that they need basically to secure the extra percentage, but now the extra damage is going down in the end, and then somehow rejects are able to win that one. Third set here, we have Gold Arm Gooch knockout. We see the Gene being first picked from the side of Crazy Racoon, which is a pretty good safe pick in terms of knockout. We see Tick, Grey, and Body Band on rejects, and then Gus, Squeak, and Sprout Band for Crazy Racoon. So pretty standard bands, I would say. Pretty much all of them I agree with. So now we're in a bad position for Crazy Racoon, right? Surely they can't get fully swept, especially considering the dominance that they've had throughout this region so far, even though it's such a good region. Like, the good game, like, this is the best game we're not even covering. Let me know whether you want me to cover that as well. I think it's Philion versus Chazmak. Basically, the winner of that game gets himself into LCQ, and it literally is down to the wire. So that is probably a better game to watch than this one, to be honest. But this is where the big names are. So Memmi goes with the Brock. which I would say the Brock is a solid option on pretty much every knockout map, but I think this is the one knockout map I don't really see Brock being played too much. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I just don't see him too much. And then a Bell. I don't really like the Bell. Bell can be good on some maps, and maybe against some archetypes, but I don't know, I just don't really like Bell here. I'd rather just go like an RT, for example, because like given RT, okay, but go with a Piper. I mean, Piper can be good in the right hands. You know, Piper can counter Bell and Brock in a way, but a good Brock can keep Piper back, especially because of the kind of splash damage and also the incendiary star power. So Shelly being picked up as well, this is one thing which I'm kind of concerned about. The thing is, Shelly's going to get nerfed and be nowhere near as good as she is in this meta. So maybe like you don't have to really look into it too much. But like not picking Shelly so early on in this region is definitely a red flag, because she should be being picked first in a draft pretty much all the time. And they go with a Grom to respond. So Grom can be pretty good. Of course, you've got the Watchtower gadget to tank the gene pool. That's one thing you straight away need to look at. But then Grom's going to have a hard time of even hitting the Shelly because of course, that very fast movement speed. And then maybe if Piper breaks things open, Brock probably will have to use Rocket Laces. Yeah, I mean, I'd actually still prefer the Crazy Racoon combination just because they've got Jean and Shelly. Jean can get a free pull onto Bell at least. And then maybe Brock if they time it correctly. But I'm interested to see how Piper does. I don't really get to see Piper too much. It doesn't really have the biggest win rate. And literally what I watched in EU, I think it was a Zeta, I think on Shooting Star. I can't remember who they faced off against, but oh, it was only AOF. I think it was only the quarterfinal. But basically, like a Brock against Piper, you know, normally I think like Piper should just be able to run all over him. But if Brock has positioning, and then Piper has to try and push into Brock. Okay, so jumping into the game then. So, I don't know, there was like a minute pause. I didn't really know what went on there. But the action is underway. So, if you guys are wondering, no face cam. I mean, I'm pretty sick, but a lot of times I feel like my videos actually do better without face cam, which is weirdly enough. Of course, I'll keep it for the Power League videos, but I'm going to test it out a lot more without my face cam because people just clearly don't like my face, do they? So, I've nearly seen some quick takedowns in that game. In that quick succession early on in the game. See Brock and Bell just grouping up. See some taps onto the Shelly, but yeah, Shelly's not going to really be doing too much until the gas closes in, but there's some really good taps on Machapi right there. Gets side tempo really low. All things considered, I think definitely the Shelly combination is going to be better once the gas closes in. So I guess rejects do have to try and push them back as much as possible, try and get as much positioning, because to give Shelly Band-Aid and then also the super late game and also Jean super, it's going to be pretty hard for them to really do anything. 10 side with a great tap. Satampo's got a really good position onto a Achape here. Levi's going to be pretty weak Achape with a super, but he's in the smoke. And now it's just the Shelly against Membi, and surely Membi can't really do anything. He's going to preserve the super. There's no point really just throwing that one out, because of course I think Shelly still had the Band-Aid to hand. So literally I called it. The thing is, like, it's going to be so hard for a Grom to hit a Shelly once the just any part in the open. It's just basically impossible unless you have your super, because of course it has such a big hitbox with that super. So yeah, it's just kind of crazy because Shelly is the only brawler I think in the game pretty much that has just the fast movement speed and a smaller hitbox. Like she has a normal hitbox. Like typically tanks have bigger hitboxes, so of course they're easier to hit. While Shelly has very fast movement speed and a normal hitbox. Like how are you supposed to hit that? Like it's been months now in this state. It's kind of just broken just thinking about it. That's one reason about it. I haven't really spoke about it too much, but actually a big reason why she's as strong as she is. But don't worry, Adrian's got us. He's nerfed Shelly, and I don't think she'll be as powerful. But for now, we can enjoy a Shelly meta. It is pretty fun. So good positioning on the side of Crazy Racoon. We see a homemade recipe go out, which is probably an EU banana to be honest. But Side Tampo is able to get a good clay pigeons onto the Brock. We see another takedown from the Jean, and then Crazy Racoon are just able to clean things up so easily. So I mean, I've called it. I'm pretty good at judging drafts at the moment. Of course, I don't draft completely their best in Power League, but when I look at teams drafting, I feel like I've got such a good intuition on who's got a better composition, like where are the weaknesses lying in the draft. And it was just so clear to me in that moment that the Crazy Racoon were just going to be better. You know, Piper can pop off, Jean's got some good combinations, and just overall don't really like the Bell. So, I mean, we've got to be trying a different strategy here. Definitely something that they need to do to overcome the draft diff, in my opinion. Of course, they can still win. It is down to how they play things, but fundamentally, draft just isn't there. Some two really amazing taps from Tensai. Of course, when you put Tensai in a brawler that requires skill, he's gonna be able to just pop off in that moment. So don't give Tensai any breathing space, or else he's just gonna tap the living crap out of you. So we see as Jarpe, he has to try and do something. I guess all Reject can kind of do here is try and build up their supers. In a 3v2 scenario, it's really hard to actually overcome unless someone does make a really glaring mistake. They do nearly manage to get the Shelly pretty low there, but Side Tampa is actually going to use Gadget there, which is a bit of a wasted resource. I combined wasted and resource together. My brain sometimes, guys, but now Side Tampa's going to push forward with the speed gear. Actually getting pretty low here, nearly goes down to the bell mark. Actually does go down to the bell bounce in the end. And to be honest, I don't know, maybe Side Tampa didn't really expect them to just double stack that lane, but now surely Rejects are going to be able to claim back. What is Tensai doing in the middle? How is he juking everything? He's literally juking everything, and as I say that, he's going to die to the bell bounce. He was just him in the middle. I guess he was just really trying to get his super. You just see time and time again, it's pretty impossible for players to really do too much. I guess he's just wasting time in the corner there, maybe trying to psych out the opponents. I don't know, Gene against 3 of them, like, what's he going to be able to do? There's just no way he's able to do anything. The gas is closing in anyway. He's just going to run it into there. I guess what he's probably doing is just speaking to his teammates, right? He's probably trying to get some communications going, trying to switch up the strategy for that last round whilst they can. So Reject, they're just going to go back to their plain simple. It's what teams just typically do. They just run down the left hand side, group up, making sure the Shelly isn't sneaking in. So Tampa, he's spinning, he's like, yeah, I'm over here, I got my super to hand, and I'm going to destroy you once I get close. So Gene can keep scouting right here. I don't think Gene's actually using the mythic gear, if I'm correct. So I'm trying to look at the gears at the bottom, and it looks like he's not using the mythic gear, so he's definitely using a vision. Might be using the health gear, maybe. We'll have to see. He's not using health gear, so I'm not too sure. Maybe he's using a mythic gear. Oh, he's using speed. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Does use the pull on the turret though. Tensai is able to get the kill against the Grom as well. Brock's super's not really going to be doing too much, and now, yeah, Side Tampa's going to use the super clay pigeons, and that's going to be GG's there. So that's going to be at least Crazy Racoon picking up a set. Let's jump into set number 4. Okay, so now jumping into set number 4, we have Pinball Dreams Brawl. So you can see 5 bands. We have Nita, Squeak, Bell, and then Shelly, Barley, and Nita again. So I feel like East Asia definitely rate with Nita in a lot of different game modes and maps, which, you know, Nita is a really strong brawler, to be fair. But I feel like he can definitely keep your distance well against Nita most of the time. We see the Lola first pick, which, in my opinion, is pretty damn bad. Like, yeah, we do see Rejects and Crazy Racoon. I think both really like Lola. I think in particular, off the top of my head, actually no, both of them really like Lola, I think, from past monthly finals. But on this map, I feel like you can get so much value into a Lola. Like, there's so many brawlers that can pierce, just like Tara can push up against Lola pretty easily. I just feel like Lola doesn't have the kind of wall peeking capabilities. Maybe if you open up the map, yeah. But for me, it's just not it. It's just not it. Even, I guess Lola can be okay against Bonnie sometimes, but then once Bonnie gets jump, she's going to be able to destroy her. So they go with a Gus, which typically isn't the best against Lola, in my opinion, especially once she gets super. It's really hard for Gus to actually deal enough damage to take down even the clone. So for me, I don't know how I kind of feel about that. I guess Gus just pairs really well with Tara, especially if you get the shield onto Tara when Tara's pushing up behind the wall to help get super. It can be a really good combination. I don't really mind it, but I don't love it either. It's pretty interesting, like the mind games that go on. I guess Lola must just counter a lot of the mids that these guys really like to go. So to be honest, who do you actually go in mid against Lola? Probably, I would say, like a Mr. P. You could even go, I mean, this region just doesn't go tanks, so I could easily just go Mr. P. Cordelius is open as well. I just completely forget, because in EU, like, Cordelius and Shelly just banned out all the time, but again, they leave Cordelius open. I'd have just first picked Cordelis for sure. He's so insane, but they do have him. At least Tara can be okay against Cordelis sometimes, but it is Cordelis, and he's going to be able to just run through literally everyone, and they go with a Grey. So East Asia do really love their Grey for sure. I've seen a few clips of them just loving Grey last monthly final, this monthly final, so the Grey pick is definitely one that I like, especially in combination with Tara. I think that's the synergy which I'm looking for the most. You know, when you pair Grey with a brawler that has a really overwhelming super, so Tara or Shelly for example, or just like, I don't know, Primo super, you get what I mean. Any brawler that has a very powerful super, the teleport combination is going to be a really good synergy. To be honest, I do really like the Crazy Racoon combination. I guess Cordelis can just absolutely pop off, but I like it. I think the thing that I notice a lot of times with East Asia is that typically they go with synergies a lot more than just playing outright who is the best lane, who is the best brawler. They go a lot with different synergies, you know, Gus with Tara, Grey with Tara, good synergy there. You see just other instances as well. So Tensai actually gets a really good kill onto Memory right there. We see Tampa actually winning against Levi as well, even though normally Cordelis does win that one. We've got a Grey with the gadget hopefully pretty soon. We see Saitampo sneaking up in the grass, actually not using a speed gear. You know, typically EU does actually use speed gear quite a lot here. We see Memory actually using a speed gear as well. Even though there's not a ton of grass, it can really help in a 1v1 interactions. Probably the best gear for me, in my opinion. Saitampo's really waiting for the super. I guess he's waiting for the Grey to build up his super in time. You don't really want to be feeding Cordelis his super either. Does use a super pretty quick, which I really do love. Not giving him any respect. Charby's going to use the mind control right here. Good pass over from Saitampo. I absolutely love it. You know, the thing is, especially once people have learned how to play Willow, you don't really want to shoot your teammate that is mind controlled, because you want him to respawn and you want him to be full HP. So that's just one thing. Menmi is able to push up really aggressive there. So even though that looked really good for Crazy Racoon, Rejector able to reclaim it. So one thing as well is that they absolutely love the Lola. So I watched again a little bit of the other matchup as well, and they just love the new Lola star power. That is some great team play, by the way, to get the ball out. Normally, God, I've panicked so much in that situation, but that is a really, wow. Levi does actually miss that one out, but Memmi with enough HP able to walk that one in. There's just so much mechanical play in this. It's actually hurting my brain because these guys are just so good. So many quick plays, so many fast thinking moments, and I just never see any of these guys choke. Everything is just always a good play. So they were able to sneak that one in the end. Wow, that is just... That was insane team play. I can't even comprehend what just happened. What actually just happened. I'm just sat here vibing, and these guys are just pulling off an absolute madness in front of my eyes. So really like the team synergy here from Reject. But definitely starting to become really, really strong. And this is the best time to really pick up the momentum. Like, of course, it can be good to dominate all year, but I've seen it multiple years. It happens in all esports, all sports. Is that, of course, you want to finish stronger. Like, it doesn't really matter how your year went. Like, you can win, I don't know, for example, every monthly final, but what actually matters is who wins world finals. That's the thing that people remember, right? So it doesn't matter, say, for example, if Crazy Racoon wins every single monthly final, but if Rejects win maybe the last one and pick up some momentum, that's where things can get really dangerous. And that's one thing I consider a lot more. So, like, for example, in EU, if you watched it, like SK won't ruin it, where you see Rejects, they're able to just score there. By the way, that was absolutely insane. You see EU, for example, like SK, they started the year bad, but now they picked up momentum. They're actually looking really scary for the world finals. A really good walking cane there from the Grey, and he's able maybe to sneak this one in, but Charpy's got his super to hand. He can defend it in time, but wow, really good double takedown, double pinch there on the Willow to actually get her down in time, and they're able to actually score that one. So yeah, sometimes I need to just stop waffling, but there's just so much commentary that I feel like if I just commentate over the game 24/7, it can be a little bit boring sometimes. But see, Levi is able to get the Shadow Room, does actually miss another one, and now the pets do come out. Now control going the way of CR. One thing I noticed as well about East Asia Greys, a lot of the times they're not really doing it too much in this game, but sometimes they'll just go in for like a teleport, even if they don't get the kill, but just get the teleport in a really dangerous position, and then all game they can kind of abuse it. So that's one thing I noticed more so about East Asia Greys than any other kind of Greys for sure. So they've just got the mechanics, I'd say, on Grey on lockdown a lot more, and that's why you see it a lot more in this region. So Ghost is going to be able to get his gadget off in a second. Just not actually go for it, I guess. Just going to save it in case Reject get into a dangerous position. A really adventurous pull there from Side Tampa. I guess he's trying to just get some pressure there. Grey's able to get the 2-tap in. That is a perfectly well-timed teleport. He knows he's in 2-tap range, so he can just teleport quickly, spam all to him a few times and get the kill. And that's what I'm talking about. The teleport in just any position is just so advantageous. People, it's been underrated for some time. So, I mean, that teleport wasn't really the best there, but now Reject are in a dangerous position right here. They just need 1 goal to secure themselves that grand final ticket. Levi's got the Shadow Realm to hand here. Can they find the opportunity? Does actually go for the Shadow Realm. Probably a little bit too late. Now Memi has the super to hand. Side Tampa gets a really good Tara pull in the end thanks to the teleport, and now it's in a 3v1 scenario. Charpy's going to be respawning, does miss the super to hand, tries to get the goal there. Tensai, a really good Tara super as well, and just look at that communication, so quick. And we're actually moving on to the third game of this set. Wow, I mean, I'm out of breath. This is just some intense Brawl Stars. If I had my voice, I think I'd have lost it anyway, so it doesn't even matter that my voice is basically lost right now. This is just some top-notch Brawl Stars, and literally I say every single time, I've always said since the beginning of time, the best way that you'll improve in Brawl Stars is by watching the pros. Watch how they play, watch how they pinch, watch how they draft, and it's just perfect the way to play a lot of the time. Of course, you've just got to play Brawl Stars as well. That's how you improve the most, but watching some of these guys play is just magical. So the Walking Cane from the Grey, able to nearly get the kill onto a Charpe. Does actually fail, which could hurt him in the long run. Needs to get a Walking Cane here to maybe destroy this wall to help him get the super, but doesn't really matter. Just get one that one shot, which can enable him to get his super in time. And that's just one thing you can't do. You can't feed Grey super as much as that. So Memi's got the clone to hand here. He's able to get so much healing. You can see also, like with the star power, which underrated, you can heal up your teammates as well. You don't really see it too often, but you definitely still see some value with it. So didn't really get so much value there, but just get another super to hand, place it behind him so he can get value out of his star power. And now I believe, oh no, I thought Memi was going to try and heal up. Does actually just run into the Grey to try and take him down quickly. The Grey does get a lot of value there out of his life. Newt goes down onto Side Tampo, does somehow survive with his life. Tensai uses the teleport as well, goes so aggressive on the Gus here. Side Tampo's just going to try and run the ball back. Doesn't want to damage Tensai, of course. And now a bit of a wasted resource there from a Charpy. I suppose he did buy himself a little bit of time. But now I'd say Crazy Racoon are definitely in the prime position. Grey has super. Tensai's 1 shot away from his Kooky Popper. That might be able to start a little bit of pressure. Does miss quite a few shots though in a row. Not really doing too much at the moment. I'll be waiting for this Grey teleport in a second and then pair it with a Tara super. Could be a very dangerous prospect. But with 45 seconds left, they're both just kind of pinching, waiting for something to happen. Tara's going to go in the grass, which is definitely the play right here. Try and get into a sneaky position. We see both teams, I don't know, both teams are kind of waiting for overtime. If I was Crazy Racoon, I definitely would not be waiting for overtime, mainly because of Velola. But then again, they do have a thrower and Cordelius. Yeah, actually, no. If I was Crazy Racoon, I'd definitely be waiting for overtime. I don't know what I'm talking about, because there's 2 brawlers on Reject that just don't have the range. But now Rejects are pushing forward. They know that they need to end it as quickly as possible. A great Tara super there. That's what just I love about East Asia a lot of times. They're just so composed and calculated. Like, they don't just waste a lot of their pulls and whatever else. That's up with the spins in the grass. And with 3 ghosts on the field here, there's a lot of healing potential to be had for sure. So we see Tensai finally using his Kooky Poppers in the end. We still see another Tara gadget as well. We see the missed gadget and super, so now Crazy Racoon should be in a good spot to actually score here. Levi with the gets taken down, and now all 3 members from Reject are dead, and that's actually going to go to a 5th set. I don't know how much more I could take of this. Alright guys, so moving on to the 5th and final set. I mean, we love really close games, but the thing is, do you guys really love the really close games? Because some of these games can literally last like 40 to 50 minutes long. But anyway, we have a return of the last series, basically. Jordan Beatles was a really questionable map for me last time around. We see the bands come in, Poco, Cole, and Gray. You see Bonnie, Crow, and Stu. These drafts are coming in so fast. I can't even talk about them, like Squeak, Lola, Gus, and B. I love the Squeak, especially on this map, good against everything. Lola, I sometimes like, but I don't really like too much going into a Squeak, to be honest. Gus, of course, pretty good into everything. They go with a Shelly as well, which I do really like. Shelly, fantastic brawler to have. And of course, if you've got Shelly, you can open up your walls as well if needed, and then B can pop off even more. If I was Crazy Racoon, I don't even know what I would go into this one. I feel like Rejects have got a really good draft here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Mr. P, potentially, against the B and the Shelly. I don't know, I feel like it's just pretty chalked just from the draft. Maybe you could go a Bell. Bell's fantastic option here. They go with a Ruffs, which can be good into a Shelly, but then Ruffs into a Squeak. I don't know. I mean, Ruffs can be okay against B as well. I don't really feel that this draft is enough personally. Like, Squeak can just have a field day against all three of these brawlers, but fair play to Reject. They're able to get a really good draft to hand. Again, I just feel like the draft is kind of thrown a little bit with Lola. I don't know. Like, Lola can be a good pick a lot of times. It can be good if you're unsure on what to go, but I feel like they just probably value Lola a little bit too much. I guess, actually, what I'm talking about, like, Lola's probably really good on Safe Zone. I feel like that's the one game mode I'd say she's improved the most in the meta, especially with the star power. I think it's called, like, Sealed with a Kiss. I think that's what it's called. They get, basically it was buffed in the last update, and it can be good on Hot Zone because, of course, you can stay alive for longer, get more zone time with that star power. We see Levi does actually not know about the glitch, basically with that B rattled hive, but it doesn't really matter too much. They're able to get the takedown onto Lola as well in a sec, and yeah, just don't. I think my observation here is seriously just don't give a Charpe Squeak, because this guy on the Squeak is so disgusting. He's able to get so many kills all of the time. He's able to get another kill onto the Ruffs, and this is looking pretty miserable so far on the side of Crazy Racoon. But then Saitama was able to get some really good aggression with the Gus right here, able to get a lot of time here. Does have the Gus shield as well to hand Lola with the power up, with the healing as well. That could be a dangerous prospect, but Shelly able to get a lot of value. I think actually using Shell Shock right here, which is quite surprising, I guess can be good to confirm kills. We see the Kuka Poppy come out, doesn't actually confirm the kill onto a Charpe in time. We see the Rattle Hive again. Levi not really knowing the maths, not too sure about that one. The thing is, if you guys don't know, well, it doesn't really matter, I'll talk about it in a sec. Some healing coming down from the Lola, actually some really good healing overall. I do really like it. Gonna be able to heal up himself here, and that's gonna be getting to full HP. And Crazy Racoon are actually running away with it slowly. I thought it was gonna be pretty bad for them, but they're starting to run away with it. We see as well Charpe with his super able to get some good connections onto Lola. Lola's gonna be really weak here. Levi starting to heat up here, getting some taps in, especially against Saitampo. Lola's gonna have to force his way back. Unfortunately, Levi does go down. Saitampo is able to push forward so aggressively, able to get a double kill there. And now with only 20% left, it's looking really hard for Reject to even come back into this one. I'd be very surprised if they come back. Memi's going to be pretty weak. Levi's going to get taken down by the Gus. That's going to be another takedown. Acharp is going to get taken down as well. Now Crazy Racoon are onto match point. So this could be a reverse sweep potentially. A reverse sweep is on the cards. I just completely forgot about that. Literally from 2-0 down. And here's me speaking about how reverse sweeps like never happen. It could literally happen right now. So for me, I don't know. I feel like the B should probably go more central, I would say. Actually, no, B's good on the lane. But the thing is, you need to use your Route Hive more central, because once it goes out of the map, it doesn't deal any damage. There's a glitch with it. So just don't even bother pressing the green button. It can be appealing sometimes. So you can see here, maybe Levi. Yeah, so that's... Even though it didn't deal any damage, at least it was more threatening, because the second I see that Route Hive leave the map, I know I'm safe if I'm on the side of Crazy Racoon. So really good residue there, really good pinch this time around. And now this is a setup which I think is going to be so dangerous, so dangerous for Crazy Racoon to fight off against, because you've got a Shelly behind a wall, you've got Squeak that's able just to keep the pressure, but at least Ruffs has a wall break here. I guess that's kind of one reason why they kind of went Ruffs here, a wall break against that Squeak. But maybe he's able to shut it down. Maybe they should have just gone for something like a not Ruffs, a a Griffin set, but then again, they literally won the first set, so what am I even talking about? So Shelly's able to push forward here against the unbreakable wall. It's just too much. Able to get pretty much another kill onto Lola. Lola's able to survive with a sealed with his star power. Does eventually go down to the Squeak super, but by the time I've been waffling, I've just been waffling, haven't I? Because this game is just pretty much done. 100% to 5. That is ridiculous in the end. It's just so hard to push into a Shelly behind an unbreakable wall. Like, how can you push out Shelly? It's just way too much. And then you've got Rattled Hive keeping you back. You've got residue gadgets. It is a lot if Reject get into position. So now we have match point. It is literally the final game of this series, and they've really treated us, haven't they? Recently, these matches couldn't get any closer. So Tensai does go down to the Rattled Hive there. Unfortunately, does try to be a little bit more aggressive, but the thing is, if you're not picking up a kill when you do go aggressive on a map like this, he might be getting spawn trapped too much. But luckily, he's able to get up the map a little bit. Another residue gadget keeps him at bay for now. Ruff's with a super already, which is really quick, to be honest. I guess that was probably the game plan. Try and get power up as quickly as possible to break open the map. But now we're in the same position. Saitama gets a really good takedown onto Beaver. That could be really clutch, but we see the Shelly just walk up and get the auto aim and charges super back instantly. Nearly gets the kill onto Saitama as well. And now we have the same instance as last time. The Shelly's pushed up to the unbreakable wall. Levi's getting the taps onto Tensai and also Lola as well. Being able to get so much pressure. Mimi's just pushing up down the left hand side. Yeah, it's looking pretty much over. I mean, this is what happens when you give a team like Reject, Shelly and Squeak in the same combination. Like, come on, it is just literally so plain and simple that was going to happen. 90% to 8%. They're going to need a world record comeback pretty much here. But, it's happened in the past. You can't discount it. But now Memi's going to be pushing up. He's just going to wait for his teammates to come back, which is definitely a good thing. But maybe with the sandbags able to tank a lot, Chopper's going to go really weak here. So we're starting to claw back a lot of percentages, but we just literally need one push. Memi's got his super. He's about to use it in a second, and he should just be able to run onto the zone once his teammates have healed up. So a good super right there. Chopper's going to get some good connections. Levi's going to tap Tensai again. Levi's been so good on the B, and now just Memi in the middle against Lola, and he's able to get the percentage needed in time. So Rejects finally managed to beat Crazy Racoon. Only the semi-final though, but that was some insane gameplay. Definitely deserved in the end. Couldn't get any closer, but for me, it's definitely like, it's hard to discredit Reject, but at the same time, like, it is the draft. Like, I just really didn't like the draft from Crazy Racoon in the end, but nearly made it work. But Squeak, Shelly, it's a no-brainer. So that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what other games you want me to cover in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.